Nothing ruins a morning more than someone spoiling your favorite TV show, but an increasing number of websites are turning a profit doing just that. To explain, we're joined now by SpoilerTV.com contributor Lisa Macklem, and from Dallas, the owner of RealitySteve.com, Steve Carbone. Welcome to both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, for a lot of people, it's just you would never want to spoil a good show. But for an increasing number, this is all part of TV viewing. Tell me how popular this is, and I'll begin with you, Lisa.
Well, we're very sensitive to the fact that there's an etiquette around spoiling. So you would think that with our site being called SpoilerTV.com that people would expect to be spoiled. But we know that not everybody wants to be spoiled. So we have a strict etiquette that no spoilers appear in a title on any kind of an article.
Yeah.
But people expect that if they click through to something that's a preview or a news article that they may be spoiled.
You know, and it's not only something that a lot of people are interested in. I mean, Steve, you know, you make a living at it. This is what you do, you know, and you make money. Tell me how you started with all of this.
It just, a spoiler came to me. I'd been writing recaps about the Bachelor and Bachelorette franchise for about 7 years of making no money and not doing anything other than just kind of giving my silly little take on this show, a very sarcastic, snarky way to look at it. And then someone who knew that I wrote an article about the show, knew some information about the ending of a season, told me. I put it out there. It ended up being right. And from that point on, I kind of became this de facto authority on the show where people just came to me and liked to tell me stuff.
So, and a lot of people like to tell you stuff. How do you weed through the info and know what information you can rely on?
Yeah, I think I've just gotten better with it over the years. That's one factor. The second factor is most of the information I get is correct. I don't think people are trying to mislead me. There have been a few instances where information I got ended up being wrong. But for the most part, the information I get, I can tell just by, if it's a phone call, a text, or an email, I can just tell by the way the information is presented whether or not it is legit. I've just gotten better at it. Obviously, I vet it out through other sources. Yeah. But if it's very detailed, it's just, I know most people aren't looking to get one over on me. So it's worked out pretty well.
You know, we often hear, most particularly in reality shows, you know, people sign their life away not to give away any detail, but yet networks, to a degree, are somewhat accepting of spoilers.
Well, it's a good way to get people involved. So, like when Jon Snow, is he dead? Is he not dead? I mean, there was a furor of excitement and discussion around, you know, if he's dead, if he's not dead, how is he going to come back? Yeah. So it's a really good way to generate interest in a show. So, like Arrow previewed, spoiler alert,
here we go,
Laurel's death. Very early in the season, they showed Oliver at a gravesite, and then there was a lot of reaction. So it's also a good way for networks to find out what fan reaction is going to be before they kill off a character. So there was this huge reaction that, oh no, you know, don't kill off Felicity. So the next time we visited that scene, we saw Felicity. So we know it wasn't her. And then it wasn't until months later that we find out actually who died. So we really work hand in hand with the network. So we want to get screeners and things because we're not just about spoilers. So we have to respect their wishes. So they'll give us screeners and they'll say, okay, you can't spoil this, you can maybe spoil this, but they're very careful about the information.
And if you do spoil what they don't want, then you get cut off to some degree.
We see no more screeners, and that's a bad thing.
So, okay, so the networks accept it to some degree and that it might affect the upcoming show. Steve, let me ask you, because it wasn't always the case, you were sued a couple of times by the network.
Yeah, I was. Both of them were settled. There is some language in the contract that I have to abide by, which I have. The last lawsuit was settled in March of 13, and here we are in May of 2016, and since then nothing has happened. So, you know, it was unfortunate. It was a mistake that I had made, even though I didn't really do anything wrong. They had a reason to at least file something at me. They probably weren't going to win in the end, but I think it was more of a way to just get me to spend some money and maybe have me give up, but I was never going to do that.
And I guess when you think about it at the very basic level, the networks initially would be concerned that if you knew the ending of a series, a show, or a movie for that matter, you're not going to go see it. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen now.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm the type of person that if I'm really excited about a book, I may read the last page.
Seriously?
Yeah, because I want to actually see how it turns out before I, commit. But the other thing is it's usually, I mean, networks will release things like a synopsis of what the episode is, and that just increases discussion. And, well, how exactly is it going to play out?
Yeah.
So some people want to be prepared if their favorite character is going to die. So, yeah, it's just really a way of generating excitement a lot of the time now.
Is there ever information, Steve, that you would get that even you would say, oh, this really would ruin everything if I let that out? Or is that just all fair game?
No, everything's fair game with me in regards to any spoiler that I get that is pertaining to the show that I'm covering, which is basically just Bachelor and Bachelorette. Those are the only shows, and Bachelor in Paradise, the only shows I spoil. But there's nothing that I won't report as long as I know it to be true.
Let me just quickly ask you, because it works for you, it's successful. Give me a sense of your traffic kind of in season when one of these shows is on.
Yeah, in season, we're looking at anywhere between 6 and 8 million page views when the show is actually on the air, and per month. And by doing that, obviously I make money through the advertising on my site. So the more traffic I get, obviously that increases revenue. But then it drops off in the off season. Even though in the off season I'm spoiling the show as it's happening, like literally in real time. People just seem to tune out while it's being filmed because they're not seeing it on their screen, so they don't care. But the second they start seeing commercials, that's when they tune back in and they head to my site.
Such a big business and apparently a lot of fun, too.
Oh,
for you
very much fun.
Lisa, Steve, thanks to both of you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.